Okay, hello everyone. So today I will be doing yet another live development stream for touchHLE, and today the game what I want to make compatible with touchHLE is called Settlers. This is, as far as I understand, a port of old game. So let me check. We Settlers iOS. Yeah, so I think this was a port of the Settlers 4, which originally was released in 2001, and yeah. So as always, don't hesitate to ask any questions in the chat. I will try to answer them, but beforehand you should know what, well, I will not work at your favorite game, so we don't take requests. I could not help with finding games, and moreover, like usually the chat rules from the Discord channel of touchHLE will be applied as well here. Yeah, well, you can say what this is Age of Empires, but not quite. So for the moment I do have already the temporary branch which allows this game to boot. But I do think it will be at most 3 stars game. I will explain along the way why, but for now let me just boot it. So one of the issues so let me disable background music for the moment. I apologize if it was a bit loud. Well, let me rerun it into the release mode because previously it was in dev mode. Yeah, hello everyone. Today I will be trying to make the Settlers iOS compatible with touchHLE. It will be a relatively short stream because I will need to drop off in 1 hour, but we will see how much I will be able to do during this time slot. So I do have already some level of support on my temporary branch, and I already played it a little bit, and the first issue what I noticed is save files are not working very well. Let me explain what I mean by that, because currently I saved during the first level, like during the half of this first level I saved the game, but now if I try to reload it, you see what it dropped back to the beginning of the tutorial. Like this message is like the first message what you see, but it's a false one, because I already did like here I already built something and it does not make sense. So the saves seems to not work very well in this game, and I'm not sure if I will spend more time trying to fix this save. But otherwise, like, the core of the game seems to work. Like, I can move the camera, I can click on the menus. And another issue what I want to showcase right now is the scale hack doesn't work well for this game. So for example, here if I define scale hack equal to 2, it will render not correctly. So if I load this mission again, but with scale hack equal to 2, you see what the grounds are not rendered correctly, and you can see all of the issues related to the rendering. So this is another part of the why I think this game will be at most 3 stars compatible. Anyway, let me bring back the background music, and I will disable the scale hack for the moment. Okay. So let's go to the development. If I check out the trunk branch, and let me also increase a little bit the zoom level so you can see it better. And by the way, let me know if you notice any freezing of the picture, because the last stream it was an issue during the 30 minutes. The image what I'm broadcasting was frozen, so I would like to avoid this. So let me know. Anyway, so I switched back to the trunk and I try to run, and I'm trying to run the game again. Let me see, I forgot the space here. Okay. Okay, so I'm trying to run the game again on the trunk. It needs to be rebuilt, but it's crashing right away, and it's crashing on the function called munmap. It will be maybe a bit difficult to make it work properly, so let me check again. We do have a link to the iOS manual pages. And let me see. Map. So this is presumably the function which is counterpart of mmap. Check it once again. No, it's the wrong link. So we do have a function called mmap, and this function makes like a virtual memory mapping in some sense. Right now in touchHLE we have a very basic implementation of this function. It basically just do a normal allocation and it doesn't do anything fancy regarding the paging, caching, etc, etc. And in our current implementation, mmap is in some sense equivalent to malloc function. But what is missing for the game is munmap. So munmap is basically cleans the memory what was previously allocated by the mmap. So let me see. I'm a bit confused what we have a len as the second parameter. What does it mean? So system call deletes the mappings for the specified address range, causing further reference to addresses within the range to generate invalid memory references. Okay, so it means what it will be a bit trickier to do as a map, because the length is not necessarily the length covering the all of the bytes were previously allocated. Yeah, well, regarding exclusives on iOS and on Gameloft, yeah, I could say what I'm basically running out on of the exclusives to make compatible with touchHLE. But in any case, the work what is done for the one game could potentially benefit many more games. Like, for example, if I implement munmap for the settlers, it will be used for any game which potentially uses munmap. Let me check. So we think. So mmap function causes the page starting at address and continuing for the most length byte to be mapped from the object described by f file descriptor, starting at byte offset. So I think we probably could make it work if we check what the length what is passed to the unmap function. So basically I do have some kind of well, dummy code, let's say, which does not use which is not using yet length, and here I want to understand what was the length, like if we do have, let's say, a map len, and I just want to print out the length parameter. So first in the mmap and second into the munmap. Wow, we do not take requests. Sorry, this is useless to ask for making us make any particular game. In any case, back to map and unmap. So I want to check what is the value of the length here and what is the value of the length here. So we can see what the length seems to be consistent between map and unmap, and I think we can do a basic implementation which keeps track of the length here in the M map and then asserts what this is basically the same length what was used here. So basically I'm thinking about keeping track of address to LAN pairs in the hash map, and then use this hash map to check in M unmap. Yeah, I think it will work. So it will work definitely in this case, but we will see if anything more complex is needed. I also want to check how the free currently implemented, because well, actually I think I need to check not the free but the alloc. So we do have allocator which allocates the size, and size so we need to, if size divided by min chunk size is not equal to 0. Yeah, so we do have some kind of padding in some cases, which means what the allocated size is not necessarily equal to the requested size. Like we may receive the bigger chunk of memory when we request it. And that means what we need to keep track the allocations ourselves. Okay, so I do not really remember how we can keep the state in those functions. Let me see, maybe if I have a look, no, map semaphore, maybe just semaphore. Yeah, so I'm looking just an example of some kind of stateful stuff what I could reuse in the unmap and mmap case. So I do want to have a state indeed, and let me see. Is there an approximate date when the next stable release will come out? So the thing is, what I'm not doing the release of touchHLE. The touchHLE release are made by the original creator Hikari no Yume, and honestly I don't know. I think maybe in a few months you could expect the next release to be made, but honestly I don't know. So I want to have well, I don't know how to name it, let's say allocations. Not sure yet what is the best naming here, and indeed I want to map from address to a size. So let's say here something like keeping track of map locations. Okay, and now what we want to do when we made the new allocation, we want to update our map. So we say something like so how I could, So let's say I don't really remember where the mmap is located, so this is indeed libc. So I need to define new libc state regarding these allocations. So let's see, libc state. So in libc state we already have those stuff, and I want to add the new one. So mmap, and we say something like mmap state, and then here in the environment, so we should have already the access to the state of the mmap. And here I want to state environment, libc state, then mmap and allocations. And now I want to first, usually we want to assert what this hash map doesn't contain this allocation. Well, it should not, but it's basically a good practice to first check for a condition before doing any action. So I want to say something like contains key, and I want to assert what this condition is fulfilled. So I want to assert what this pointer is not found yet into the allocations. So this is the first time when we do allocation in this case. So if this condition is met, then we can safely update our allocations. So we can say insert, and we want insert the key value pair. So in this case, our pointer and our length. Let me see if it compiles. It does. So I think I want to leave these debug messages. And here I want to check, in this case we should have the same so we want to check what in our hash map of allocations the entry corresponding to this address have the same length. Is touchHLE rushing development or not? I'm not sure I understand your question. Question I just thought of asking, well, please ask it and I will try to answer. So, I want to check that environment, libc state, mmap, allocations, get, for the address. No, this is not good after completion. Unwrap is equal to the length what is passed as the parameter to this function. So, and my assertion, I'm asserting what equality can be applied. Well, let me do it this way. So, I am uncertain that indeed in some sense I want to catch this situation. So when mmap was called with a length 72, I want to check what munmap also called with a length 72. And this is exactly what this assertion is doing here. And we also need to update our state by saying something like remove address. So this should work. iOS version in between 2.0 and 2.2.1 compatible? Yes, they should. Well, when we say compatible, it means what they are possibly compatible. Like if you take any random iOS 2 game or iOS 2 point something game, it doesn't mean what it's necessarily compatible with touchHLE, but the infrastructure is here. Like most of the libraries are here, and like the bottom line, what iOS 2 games have way more chance to be compatible with touchHLE than, for example, iOS 3 games. Will iOS 3.1 ever work at some point? Well, there is a spike in complexity between iOS 3 and everything later. It's possible what it will be working in the future, but I could not say for sure. Yeah, so if the game is loading when crashing, there is majority of the games like this, and we don't take requests, so I don't know what to answer else to you. Like, you can try to retest your favorite games with which new update of touchHLE and see if it works or not. Anyway, back to munmap. Let's see if this is working as expected. Okay, so let me try it again. So it's crashing, but it is crashing on another implemented function. I want to commit this part at least, so I can first run linter. And what linter does, it basically checks some, it basically checks the syntaxes. Well, not really the syntaxes. It basically checks the quality of the code in some sense. And we do have some checks established on GitHub Actions, which does check, for example, what the formatting of your code is consistent with the code base. And if I do not run this check and just commit the code, it will not pass the CI. CI stands for continuous integration. So the bottom line, it's better to run this check locally than on GitHub site. Yeah, so Gameloft sport games and other Gameloft games, like, you could already check the app compatibility database. So if you don't have a link, I will post you a link here. And on this site we keep track which games are working and which games are not working. And if you search for the Gameloft, you could see that there is a lot in comparison of other iOS games which are already have a decent compatibility. So for example, Bridge Odyssey, it's 4-star game. If I check for the soccer game, Real Soccer also 4-star game in terms of the compatibility. So the Gameloft games are already quite compatible with touchHLE. And I'm talking here about earlier Gameloft games like 2008, 2010. Later versions are still not compatible, and yeah, we could not say anything about those. Okay, so I think I could commit this one. So let's say something like implement m-unmap. So I want also to check some other stuff. So we do have an errors like not bench aligned, len parameter negative or 0. Okay, so I think I should also add this part about the erno, and I want also to assert that length is greater than 0. So this is related to this part. The length parameter was negative or 0. It will generate some kind of error. Okay, well, let me run linter again. So I made a report, but I made a typo. Can one of the people that manage the updb fix can fix it for me? So right now the updb is managed completely by Hikari, and I guess you could try to contact her. Though I think you could just wait and see if your report gets accepted or rejected. Also, it depends on the nature of your typo. Like if it's a minor thing, it's probably okay. But in any case, I do not have access to the database itself. Yes. Okay, anyway. No, I don't want to remove this line. Why am I removing it? Yes, so hash map. Okay. And let me try to run it again. So it's still crashing, but it's not crashing on the m-unmap, but in our function. And I think I could first let me run the linter again, sorry, just to double check what everything is okay with the code. It seems to be okay, so I can commit this one. Then for the f-ups, it's quite straightforward in Rust, so I already did it and I can just cherry pick it. It just calls the appropriate ups function on the f-ups. Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if I can fix it quickly. say, I don't really like OBS. It really bugs every time when I try to do something not trivial. Yeah, display capture. And let me see, I want to set it to be fit of the screen. It should be okay now. Is it okay? Anyway, so I did some kind of implementation for the f-apps. Let's see if it's working again. Okay, thanks for confirmation. So we do now have a Gameloft logo, but it will still not be enough for this game. So it's loading and it's crashing on the second splash screen. So let me first of all, I want to kinda commit the existing these two commits to GitHub, so we can see the progress, and it will generate the new preview build, which will still not support the settlers completely, but it will show the splash, the logo of Gameloft. So this is in some sense the progress. One moment, please. And we can check together if the build is really started or not. So I can see the list of commits, and hopefully it will appear here like in few seconds. Yeah. And you can see what the build has been started, and it should be available in some minutes. But it will not support settlers yet, because this is still work in progress. Okay, now we do have a crash in the function ILC create context, and we have a crash on the utter list, which I guess is attribute list related to the creation of the OpenAL context. OpenAL is the library what we are using for the audio processing, and we can check the specifications of this library here. In particular, the function which is crashing right now is ILC create context. And let me check if I can find it inside the documentation. So, creating context. A context is created using this function. The device parameter has to be a valid device. The attribute list can be null or zero terminated list of integers pairs composed of valid ILC attribute tokens and requested values. This is interesting. So, presumably we can just iterate over the list and produce the pairs. So I can say something like let ptr, and I will say mutable pointer I32, attribute list, cast mutable, and I want this to be mutable, and while this pointer is not null, I want to print the contents. So it's set into the specification what this is a zero terminated list of integer pairs. So I think I could do something like so we need to read these integer pairs using memory, like it will be ptr and ptr plus 1, and I need to increment it by 2 because this is a list of pairs. I need to read ptr and ptr plus 2, so I need to increase by 2. And we can compile and see what kind of lists is getting generated. So the game is still crashing, but we can have more information about the crash. Oh fuck, we have a lot of... This is not normal. Wait. This is not normal. Like here it basically loops infinitely. So I'm not sure what is going on. So in this case, what I like to do, I will comment out this, and I want to check into the Hydra what is happening around the code which calls this function. And let me see if I have Hydra. Hydra is open source reverse engineering framework which will allows for the disassembly of the binary code of the settlers, well, in this case. So let me see, I don't have, let me try to import, I will do it off screen just to be a bit safe. I'm basically set up in the Hydra project and it will take few moments, so please wait. So I did import of the binary inside the Hydra, but now I need to analyze it. So I opened the binary in the Hydra, and the first thing what it asks me is to analyze it. Basically do the disassembly of the binary code. And I usually go with the default parameters. Most of the time it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And what Hydra tries to do is basically tries to reverse engineer automatically the binary code and convert it from the assembly in this case IRM v6 assembly, to the C style functions, sometimes pseudo functions, which will show us what is going on. And the analyzing of these binaries are taking some times, so it may take from few minutes to dozen of minutes. So for the moment I will just let it run and see if I can check some other stuff regarding this crash. So what else I can understand about attribute list from the documentation? So a zero terminate list of integer pairs of valid ILC attribute tokens and requested values. So where are those values? ILC attribute tokens. So attribute, attribute, basic listener, source attribute, listener attributes, source attributes. What was this function again? ILC create context. Hello, welcome to the stream. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to fix the ILC create context, which passes the list of the attributes, but for some reason it is crashed. So we do have a section regarding the context attributes. The application can choose to specify certain attributes for a context at context creation time. So this is probably the list. Attributes not specified explicitly are set to implementation depend defaults. And we can specify frequency, refresh, sync, mono sources, stereo sources. Okay, so for example, ILC frequency. I don't think we are using this constant. Yeah, we are not using this. Okay, ILC.ih. So I wonder if I search more broadly. Yeah. So it seems to be like those values. Okay, let me check on the Gidra again. Okay, so it has processed finishing the binary, and we can check again what is going on. So if I check for the PC program counter, I will just see what this is a placeholder symbol stub for ILC create context. So it's better to check link register, which is basically the next the return address of this function. And as you can see, we do have ILC create context, which is called this. So it does passes it passes the address of the local 54, which is a place allocated on the stack, and presumably it contains this information like 0x1007. This is ILC frequency, if I remember correctly. So let me just put it here, and put it here, and hide this. So we can check what this is indeed an ILC frequency. ILC mono sources, ILC stereo sources, and then we have a 0. So even, but what does it mean? Because it should contain the pairs. So this thing I'm not really understanding quite yet. Like, okay, so we have an ILC frequency, and next is local 50. So it should be the second parameter. And after that we have local 4C, and this is 0x1010, which is ILC mono sources, and it's equal to this parameter. Then we have local 54, which is equal to 1011, which is stereo sources, and it's equal to local 40, which is 0, and local 3C, which is 0. So this is probably the list of those values, and it should stop. Like right now I quite not yet getting why my code is having a loop, why it's looping indefinitely. Like, and we can easily check what this is indeed the indefinite loop, infinite loop, because if we can set a to do here and we relaunch our game, well, normally I would expect only 3 value pairs to be printed, but here for some reasons it is printed like infinite amount of time. Yeah, as you can see, okay, I understand. I need to check not for the pointer itself to be 0, but the value of the pointer to be 0. Let me check the documentation again, what it tells. 0 terminated list of integer pairs. So the list itself will contain a 0. So while environment read is not null, is not equal to 0. So this should work. So yeah, now it is working more or less as expected. So I do have the 3 key value pair. Each corresponds to some kind of a context attribute of ILC, and we could probably print it into a different way. Something like this. Let's rerun and see the values again. Okay, so those values seems to be consistent with what we have seen in ILC.h. So we do have frequency, we do have mono sources, and we do have something about stereo sources. Now the question is to how pass this information to the ILC create context. So let me see. So basically I want to do something similar to this part. Like something very similar, I guess, to this part. Yeah, so let me check this part of the code again. I will just copy paste it here for the reference. But basically what we want to do, we want to construct our pointer to the attribute list. And we can say something like let attribute list ptr for the pointer. We'll say what it's indeed this stuff. I don't remember. Yeah, okay. So we can say what if attribute list what is passed is nil, we can just use std pointer. But otherwise, what we need to do is can I do it basically the same way? So I can say attribute list slice, and I could first of all get the size of this slice. So we can iterate once again here. We pass in our attribute list and we will get the size. So I don't remember, this is guest u size. So let's say something like let list size guest u size, and we can say something like it's mutable and we increase it by 2 as well. So for the 3 k-value pairs it should be 6, and we can also add a to-do check keys are good. We will come back to this part. but basically I want to pass the size here. I want to get my attribute list pointer and I want to pass it here. So this assertion doesn't make sense. And let me check if it does work or not. And it seems to work. So it's still not exactly everything what we need to gain for this game. Let me check. Yeah, we still need to implement this one. But at least it goes into a menu, so this is a good sign. Now let me go back to this part about checking if it's a good key value pairs. So what I want to do is I want to bring those values. So as far as I understand, so far we have only 3 key value pairs, and I will just put it here. Okay, well, I'm running out of time, unfortunately, for today, because I need to leave. But I think I will try to complete support for this game off stream. Right now we do have a partial support which will show only the the splash screen, and there is like 2 or 3 more commits what I need to do in order to make it work. But I plan to work on it off stream, and I will make a break here. So thanks for passing by. If you have any last minutes questions, please type in the chat and I will try to answer them. But I will be wrapping up for today. So it was a short stream. It's still not compatible with touchHLE, but I will continue to work on it off stream. And just to showcase what we have right now, I will run it again. Do you have any programming skills before? Well, I think this what I still don't have much of a programming skills today, but more seriously, yes. So I do, I do software engineering for living. So this is definitely not my first programming project. Okay, let me see if I can start a new game, or this is still crashing. Why do you think Gameloft removed the old games? Well, I think as any big corporation, and Gameloft is relatively big right now, this is just not worth the investment and not worth the money to support those games. Like, they would prefer to release some kind of, I don't know, multiplayer game with the loot boxes than continue to support an old game which need to be updated and will not bring them enough money to cover the expenses. So I guess those are the main reasons why. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining today. Unfortunately, I did not manage to make the game fully compatible in this time slot, but I will continue and probably notify everyone via my Twitter, Blue Sky, or official touchHLE Discord channel. Thank you for joining. See you.